divorce, it's important to understand the process. That means knowing what's true and what's not. David Iancu is a managing partner at Karp and Iancu, where they specialize in divorce and family law. It's great to have you back.
Thanks for having me back.
I love the questions on this true-false list. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to get right to it, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions about divorce anywhere, but you really need to know your own state's laws, right, as it relates to it.
Every state's different.
Okay, so the first one is, do you have to be separated before filing for divorce?
No, that's false. There is no separation requirement in Wisconsin. In fact, some people live together after a divorce.
Fascinating. That's a whole nother segment, I feel.
I don't know how, but some people do.
Right, exactly. Okay, true or false? Your spouse can keep you from getting a divorce if they don't want the divorce.
That is false. So Wisconsin's a one-party state. If one party wants a divorce, they're going to get a divorce. Now, someone can make it take longer and cost more and be more emotionally painful, but they can't stop a divorce. It's a one-party state.
One-party state. Are most states like that?
I don't know, actually. Don't call me for your other state divorce.
Don't call if you want to divorce in Minnesota.
No.
Okay, does cheating affect the outcome of a divorce?
That's also false. It's a very tough pill to swallow for some people going through a divorce in Wisconsin, but it really has almost no impact. Wisconsin's a no-fault state. You don't need a reason to get a divorce. And generally speaking, the judges don't care why you're getting a divorce. So really, very few things like that would impact the outcome of a divorce.
Interesting. True or false, you have to go to court to get a divorce?
Interesting, until a couple months ago, that would have been true. They just passed a law that allows parties who have lawyers or who are working with a mediator to actually finalize a divorce in some situations without going to court at all. So it used to be the case you had to have at least one final hearing, but now there is a possibility to avoid court altogether, which is nice.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think most attorneys favor that new rule?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more efficient for the parties, for clients. It depends. If it's a complex case, sometimes you want to go into court and put everything on the record. But for the routine, sort of simple divorce cases, it's great for the parties not to have to pay lawyers to go to court.
Interesting. True or false, the spouse who files first is at an advantage?
Generally false. Again, just like with the no-fault thing, the judge doesn't care who files first, why you're filing, really makes almost no difference in a Wisconsin divorce.
Fascinating. Okay, now we're going to do a couple of property and finance related true or false questions. The first one is, true or false, everything is always split 50-50 in Wisconsin?
It's actually false. Common misconception that everything's 50-50. I do get calls from people that say, why do I need a lawyer? Isn't everything going to be split in half?
Yeah.
And as with most things in the law, the answer is it depends.
Yeah.
The presumption, the starting point in Wisconsin is 50-50, but the judge has a lot of discretion based on length of the marriage or assets brought to the marriage. And there are also exceptions to the rule, like inheritances and gifts that are generally exempt from division. So starting point 50-50, but not always 50-50.
Well, and I think that's a good thing to mention, because a lot of people in our state do think we're a 50-50 state. So it's important. Okay, true or false? If I owned a house or business before marriage, I'm automatically protected. That's automatically mine.
False. So just like with the prior presumption that things start as 50-50, the judge has a lot of discretion. The longer term the marriage, generally the less a judge is going to care about who brought what into the marriage. If it's a really short marriage, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, certainly if someone came into the house with any asset, whether it's a house or a retirement account, a judge would be more likely to grant that asset to that party.
Okay.
It's not automatic.
Makes sense. It sounds like the duration of the marriage is something that they really put a lot of emphasis on when it comes to making those decisions.
Yeah.
True or false, if someone's name isn't on the title to a property, they do not have rights to it?
That's false. So again, under Wisconsin marital property law, title is irrelevant. So whose name is on an asset, whether it's a car, house, makes no difference. The presumption, the starting point is that those are marital assets in Wisconsin. And so really, that's another common misconception both ways. Parties that are on the title and not are worried about, sharing those assets. They're presumptively marital 50-50. That's the starting point.
Interesting. And here's another one. True or false, if you move out of the marital home, you've given up your rights to that home?
That's false. Another common misconception. There's no such thing as abandonment of property in Wisconsin. So if that property is marital property, whether you live there or not, whether you're contributing to bills or not, the starting point is going to be 50-50 ownership in a divorce case.
One question about children and families, because we're running out of time. If a child wants to live with one parent, can they simply choose?
No, legally no. Children don't get to decide where they're going to live. They don't get to decide much of anything, right? But the reality is the older the child, the more weight his or her opinions are going to have on a court if there is not an agreement between the parents. Ideally, parents will agree, but if not, the child's wishes do matter, but they don't get to decide.
And lastly, grandparents automatically have visitation rights.
That's false. In fact, there's a case that came down recently that I would say sort of decimated grandparent visitation rights. We used to do a lot of those types of cases, but now the burden is very high on grandparents to basically show that a parent or the parents are unfit in order to get any kind of custody rights or time with a grandchild. It is very hard to get that anymore.
Fascinating. Yeah. That's really interesting. It was great to have you here.
Thanks
Thank you so much about clearing up. I was confused on a lot of those things. I think a lot of people are. So it's important to know the rules, the laws here in our state. And if you'd like to connect with the knowledgeable attorneys at Karp and Iancu about divorce and family law, you can visit their website to book a consultation. Here's the website to visit. It's karplawfirm.com.